I'm good to go. Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Let's go.
Awesome. All right. Welcome back to another Web Development Live going to restart that. Welcome back to another Web Development Podcast episode where we help aspiring developers get jobs and junior developers grow. In this episode, I invited on Harris to talk about essentially why he quit his mobile developer position that he got after our coding bootcamp and became an entrepreneur. And so we're going to dive into that. Harris, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Love it. Cool. So let's do a quick intro. Who are you?
Hi, my name is Haris Samingan. You can call me Harris. I used to be a mobile developer and I graduated from a coding bootcamp. And initially I was a psychology student and I jumped into the coding bootcamp.
Me too.
Because that's where the money is. Yep. Honestly, that's where the money is. And right now I actually teach coding. Yeah, so I do freelance to teach coding. At the same time, I also have a business that teaches coding. And then hopefully in the future, I can open up a coding bootcamp. So it's a full circle, that kind of thing.
I love it. Really interesting. Well, maybe one day, I don't know how much detail you got about my channel, but we do review tons of coding bootcamps here. So maybe one day we can review yours.
Yes, please do. Please do. I would love you to bash it as much as you can. Yeah, because I honor honest feedback.
Yes, well, I appreciate that. I wish more coding bootcamp staff had your mentality. I think it would help grow their programs. But we're going to focus on you today. So let's dive into it. You were at a coding bootcamp, and did you even have the goal of becoming a mobile developer, or were you just like, I'm going to code doing whatever?
Yes, I did have the initial goal to be a mobile developer. So the story was that when I joined this coding bootcamp in Singapore, it's called Alpha Camp. Now they're not available now because I think they pivot to something else. So I really wanted to create mobile applications when I was looking into this coding bootcamp. So when I applied to it, and then I received a call from them, and then they say, thank you for registering your interest. I see that you wanted to become a mobile app developer because you joined the iOS bootcamp, right? Then the person said that, sorry to say, but there isn't a lot of people joining the app, mobile app course. So why not just pursue the web development path? And then he tried to but most of the time developers actually started with web development. Then I don't know better. I said, okay, sure, no problem. I just went into web dev, and then that's how I got started my coding, I would say, path. Yeah.
Okay. So you became a web developer right after the coding bootcamp.
Yep.
And then how did you get into mobile development?
Okay, so I didn't really become a web developer. So after the bootcamp, through the web development course, right? It taught me Ruby on Rails, and then I was like, okay, why not I continue with web development? So I was looking for internships. I didn't really care about what type of internships. I just want to have an internship in any kind of company so that I can build my resume, right? So in the end, I managed to get an internship from my friend. She was working at an education tech company, meaning that she's in a company where it teaches tech. So then I was like, why not just go for it? Any internship opportunity would help. And then after that, I started in that internship. I thought I would do some sort of web development because I graduated from web development, right? But in the end, I didn't do a lot of web development, but I actually teach coding. That was the start of me teaching coding back then. So I was like, okay, maybe then I explored during that internship. So I was exploring a bit more on data science, AI, and then also mobile application. And then I had one experience where my intern colleague, he's younger than me because this company, this education tech company, right? They hire a lot of 16 to 17-year-olds interns, legal in Singapore. most of them are brilliant developers because they started developing when they were younger. So like I learned from them more than they learned from me. And then one of them was iOS developer. And then he said, Haris, I saw this framework that Google is building. It's a mobile app framework. It's called Flutter. And I was like, okay, sure. Let me get to know more about Flutter. Then share with me the website, and then I got inspired to like, oh my god! Back then it was, I think 4 years ago. So 2018, 2017, Flutter was like another project that Google tried to create and see whether it works or not. So for me, I just like took the risk, and then I just went like. I became so motivated that like I read through the documentation. I just tried my own projects, and then like I also tried to see whether there are courses out there that teaches Flutter. So I remember in Udemy there were only 2 courses. So one was I think by I forgot what's her name, but she's like a Asian lady. She's very popular in Udemy. I forgot what's her name. And then the other one was another person who was teaching Flutter. So I took the latter one. And then after that, I really was motivated to become a Flutter developer. I really like after the intern working hours, I'll go to the library. I'll still continue coding, that kind of thing. So it really got me motivated for some weird reason. And if you were to know that new frameworks, when they are created, right, their documentations are not as good as like maybe those who are already out in the industry for many years. So I was still figuring out what the hell they're talking about, because they have a lot of jargons that they use, like stream builders or like containers, and like how the layouts are being built in Flutter and whatnot. So it was a difficult time for me to understand a lot of things, but eventually I was lucky enough to get an opportunity in being a Flutter developer when the framework was still in beta, which I think I was really grateful, because how I got my first like Flutter experience wasn't in the tech internship in the education tech company, but it was through LinkedIn. So back then in 2018, 2017, I don't think LinkedIn was very popular, not as popular as right now, I would say. Then I updated my profile to say that I was exploring Alexa. So Alexa is like Amazon, like a framework for you to do build like what do you call that? The dialogue flow kind of thing. So you can create your own, like, because I think it was pretty cool. You can say something and then you can do a lot of interesting stuff. And then I also put in Flutter as well. So then this person messaged me on LinkedIn saying that, hey, I see that you have updated your profile on Flutter. And I say, yep. And then he said, why don't we meet for coffee? And he is still the founder of the startup. And then after that, we talk a bit about Flutter. And then that's how I got my first Flutter internship. And eventually it became my full-time job as a Flutter developer. Yeah. So I know I've been to like so many, it's been a lot, but yes, I was super lucky that I got a job from LinkedIn, in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially back then. So Flutter, I'm not super familiar with it. It's kind of like a multi-platform tool to be able to build stuff, right? Yeah.
It used to be like a mobile only, but then since it picked up traction and they somehow saw the underlying technology on how Flutter is being used in other platforms, then they say, okay, why not we invest more effort into building not only the mobile platform, but also like Windows, Mac, and what else? Linux. So you can build all these applications, desktop applications using Flutter as well.
Okay. So you have your Flutter position. Was that like a salary paid position?
Yes.
Okay. And you decided just screw it, don't want that position anymore. And then you took it to something else, right?
Yeah. So I worked as a Flutter developer for a year and 4 months. I think it's very short for like a developer experience, I would say. But yeah, after working in that startup, I was like also exposed to like entrepreneurship, because the startup founders are pretty not say very young, but they are relatively young in the game of like being an entrepreneur, and they are and they try to be like a tech company, but they sell. Okay, so this startup that I was working for, they're a feminine tech company, but they sell heat pads for menstrual pain. And then my job there was to create their menstrual tracker. So females actually track their menstrual cycle so they can predict in the future if they want to do any plans pertaining during their periods, so they can do that. So I built that application in Flutter. Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. I learned a little bit more on the female side of things. And but yeah, I was really very invested in Flutter. And then after a while, I was like, I also had that inkling of like, I wanted to do my own thing, because I feel that even wherever I work, I always had ideas that I want to implement. So that's where I feel that sometimes when I were to give an idea of maybe not related to, I would say, to engineering, for example, maybe some sort of marketing, right? And then I would like say, hey, why not we do this to my previous startup? And then after that, I think we didn't even carry or execute any of the ideas that I tried to pursue. Maybe I wasn't convincing enough. I don't know. But I feel that I have like a potential and a drive for me to like, really execute the ideas that I have. And then most of the time, whether I'm in as a software developer or when I was working part-time, right? Most of these ideas were just swatted down. It was ignored, and I was really frustrated. So then I was like, why not? Yeah.
I want to relate to this because, obviously I'm doing my own thing right now as well. And I remember like going through 3 different startups. And I remember even with one of the startups, so first one, pretty open to my ideas. And even like, I felt like I had more conversations with, marketing, UX, design. And I felt like those departments actually wanted to hear my thoughts, because I have constant ideas. And I wanted to talk through them. And I thought they were pretty good. Some of them, like you said, I might not have sold them well enough, but, it felt like I was kind of listened to. But there were other startups that I worked at where like literally told, it's not your job, Don. What are you doing? Yeah. Focus on software engineering, and like, that was one of the most frustrating things ever. You don't work at a startup to just like kind of just be boxed in and like be told like your ideas don't matter. Like startups about like kind of integrating different departments and hearing different ideas, and it should be a little bit more of an open culture to hearing that kind of stuff. So I know like when I heard that, I was frustrated, and that kind of like eventually drove me out.
Yes, I totally agree. And I totally understand. And sadly, like this kind of companies, I think they are like, they have the traditional mindset of like, okay, I hire you for this job, you do this job, you don't do anything else. Your ideas might, yeah, sure, yeah, we hear it, but let's leave it to the people. It's like, but a startup is a startup. It's like, I mean, the main idea of startup is to grow, right? And sometimes the craziest ideas are the one that makes like a huge improvement to, because sometimes you're so boxed into your own bubble or experience, you might not think of like things outside the box. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's fine. That's why this kind of experience led us to this kind of journey, right? Where we quit our jobs and it's like, F it, let's go and do our own thing and see how it works. So That's what I did. Yeah. So I quit my job and then I started my own entrepreneur journey, and I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I know I wanted to do something on my own. Okay. I think most entrepreneurs or anyone who started on their own are always figuring out what they want to do. Yeah. So I was figuring out.
Well, that's really tough too, because like it almost felt like, I mean, you and I were kind of driven out of that company to do our own thing, and then we got to search because we know we have tons of ideas we want to create. Actually, I guess I'm going to pick your brain a bit. Like what was your thought process? What were some of the ideas that you kind of just tossed, and why did you end up with what you ended up with?
Right. So the first idea that I had was I wanted to create a math question generator for tuition centers. right? So I didn't know why I did that, but I guess it was more towards helping tuition centers on like creating math questions because it's very easy to automate, and like I think it was a good idea. Then I managed to get my first client. He was my friend and he owns a tuition center. And then after I realized doing the MVP and prototype for him, right, I realized like I don't think I will be motivated in doing this. So I was like, okay, I told my friends like, okay, I don't think I want to continue this. And then he understands because he himself is also an entrepreneur. So it's like, I totally understand. And then I scratched that idea. I give back all the money that he put in. And then the next part is I think I created like have you heard of Linktree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to be a competitor of Linktree because it was very new back then. So I was like, why not take some market share of it? I tried it for a few months and it didn't work out. And then I was like, okay, maybe something else. Then the next thing is like, since I was a Flutter developer, why not I create Flutter videos or tech videos, right? So the first videos that I created on my YouTube channel was just all about experimenting on like tutorials, so tech tutorials. And then one video that hit was just a simple Linktree clone using Flutter or Flutter Web, right? And then it got kind of popular. It got 1,000 views, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's the first video that got 1,000 views on my video channel. Should I invest my time on doing this Flutter video tutorials?" So I continued, and then I guess the traction got a little bit better, and that's where I found out, I was like, oh, why not I actually create Flutter tutorials and videos and then maybe build a business out of Flutter, because Flutter was gaining traction. And then like, yeah, why not ride on the wave of it? And that was my whole business for around 2 years. Yeah. And then, it was quite challenging. Running a business, building a business, trying to grab as much revenue as you can. So my business model was create YouTube videos, video tutorials, and then after that, create a paid course on Udemy. And then after that, just like, do all of that.
How did the paid course on Udemy do?
The paid course was not as it was okay. It wasn't as much as I wanted it to be. So like the paid courses, I think my highest month revenue I can share is maybe 400 USD per month.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was like, I think my highest. And then I think it was also during the Black Friday sale. Okay, maybe not 400, maybe 500. Yeah. I know it didn't reach to 1,000 USD per month, because that was my goal for Udemy. And then I realized that 2 years ago, Flutter was very popular to the point that if you were to type Flutter in Udemy, there were many other people, or I don't call them competitors, because I was like, you build a course and you spread over Flutter, I'm okay. But yeah, there were a lot of people building Flutter courses back then as well. So I guess it was kind of successful, but not to the goal that I wanted. So yeah, I was like, another thing about entrepreneurship that not many people say is that you need capital. No matter what you do, you need capital. So if you don't have money, then you probably ask your parents for money, which I did. and I also use my savings as well. So the most stressful part about entrepreneurship is that my savings was dwindling down and I was really stressful about money, right? So I saw your post on YouTube, and then that's why I shared like my opinion on it, and I was really, really stressful. So about money, because people are so used to become employees. They have recurring income, so they don't really worry about money that much. But for a person who's in the business, right, money is what they always think on how to survive, because every month you need some sort of recurring revenue. If not, you cannot survive. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
That was really stressful for me at the last 2 years of that. The first year and half it was okay because I had enough savings that I have to burn through, to experiment, to really grow my YouTube channel, my courses, and all of that. But that was not enough for me to sustainably live because I was getting more stressed for the money. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I always wonder if certain ideas would have been more successful if money didn't light such a huge fire under my butt. And I feel like, yeah, it's just rough. Well, let me ask you this. Only share what you're comfortable with, but were you, I guess, okay, so you essentially started trying to create courses, right? You went to Udemy. I hear Udemy, so this is my opinion based on other things that I've heard. Udemy generally is one of the worst ways to go and build revenue based on your course. A lot of different content creators and entrepreneurs have recommended just build your own course, put it on like Teachable or your own website, anything like that. So I guess how much revenue, so were you just making money off of Udemy or did you have other revenue sources? I'm curious what your total revenue coming in around that point was.
Right. So I did have other sources of revenue, which is YouTube itself. So YouTube has their own way of giving money back to the creators, right? So it's through ad revenue. So I think for tech content, it is actually not bad compared to lifestyle content from what I've researched so far, because tech is where a lot of developers, they have high disposable income, so they can sell you, advertisers to sell you things related to coding and tech, and that's where people actually will buy and stuff. So YouTube ad is one of them. Then another one was one-on-one mentoring or tutoring, Flutter. So I did that for a while for someone. So I was charging like 60 USD per hour. Some might say it's too high, some might say it's too low. So for me, I think there was a comfortable rate that I'm able to share. But I later learned that just charge as much as possible until someone don't need your services, I would say. But later on, I can share with you on how to do this, pricing and whatnot. But yeah, I was doing that for one person, and then at the same time, due to my YouTube channel, I also got people asking me to do their projects and whatnot. So so I got I did some freelance work as well, and all of that are from the YouTube channel. If they are interested, they'll probably go to my YouTube channel, and then they will see that there is a business email that they can contact me to, and then that's where I see people email me as well. So that is the three primary source. And I did actually Teachable. So I did host a Teachable link or account to host my own courses. And that failed miserably, because what I realized from Teachable is that it's just a platform for you to host your courses, right? But Udemy, why it's better, I would say, is because if you don't have an audience, then Udemy is the best way, because Udemy has consistent monthly active users or people who visit the website. So actually, it is more, for me, as from a business standpoint, it's more reliable for me to rely on Udemy rather than Teachable. Because Teachable, you always have to sell your courses. And if you're amazing in your content creation, where you have hundreds or thousands of views for every video, then you don't have to, always shout out your courses. But for the rest, I believe from my experience, if you want to really build your own courses to not give Udemy so much of your revenue cut, right? Then you always have to put your links on your YouTube description, or you have to probably promote like Algo Expert. I think Clement, he really is in for the money. So every video he will say, go to algoexpert.com with my promo code, whatever, right? So for him it works because it's like a running joke, but he knows that by promoting or doing that for every video, right, he will always get customers. And then after that, he also has like people saying that word of mouth through LinkedIn. That's where people post their certificates saying that, oh, I finished this. So for me, I don't have that kind of like way of, I don't like to sell stuff online on my YouTube channel as well. I rarely like do that on my YouTube channel because that's not the whole point of me creating a YouTube channel. For me, it's just I want to create a very good tutorial so that people like me of my teaching, and then they'll probably go to like Udemy or whatever website to buy my courses. I don't like to promote every time, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I suck at marketing. I don't know. But yeah, so that's my different sources of revenue, which is like mainly is Udemy because it's very reliable. Then after that, it will be YouTube ads. So YouTube ads, I earn maybe back then around 100 USD per month. And then after that, the third one will be
how many views did you get per month?
For
YouTube, to get the $100 a month, how many views did you have per month on your YouTube channel?
I'm not too sure. Maybe 10,000 per month. I'm not too sure. Okay. I remember. Okay, so YouTube don't pay you unless you have $250 in your ads account. For those who don't know, so this like you need to hit 250 so that they can pay you. So like I don't know what or I would say Google, because to get your ad revenue, it's not from YouTube, it's from the ads, Google Ads kind of a section there. Yeah, so it's a lot of things that not a lot of people think about when they create YouTube. But if you want money, you have to like create an ads account and whatnot. Okay, anyway, so for me, 1,000 views, I'll get $1. Is it? I'm not sure. $1 for 1,000 views, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So maybe.
So was that your CPM or RPM? You don't have to share it if you don't want.
I have no idea. Yeah. But I do. I mean, maybe I should have prepared.
No. I mean, I'm just picking your brain right now because this is what I'm doing. So I'm just curious. So essentially, it sounds like Udemy was your main source of revenue, and then you had supplemental past that. I guess my main question is, it almost sounds like that wasn't really hitting your revenue goals or paying the bills, right? Because you moved on from that.
Yep.
Okay. So, what did you move on to?
So right now, I was initially, when I quit my job, I really wanted to do something to do with education, but I didn't know what was it. So I had this like stupid goals, like maybe I should open up a tech school, like a physical tech school, or like some sort of university where, you graduate and you're able to get a job, that kind of thing. So, it sounds like a coding bootcamp now, right? So then I really was thinking, because I was really stressful about money during running my own business, right? Then luckily my mentor from the previous education tech company that I interned for, he asked me, "Hey Haris, are you available? Because we need like tech instructors. Because we have this school that we're teaching, and we need a lot of tech instructors or people to teach coding." And I was like, "Oh my God, you saved me at the right time when I'm when I'm so stressful about money." And then after that, when I went and helped to do that, right, I was like, oh my God, I should have freelance as a tech instructor, because from the years of doing YouTube tutorials, like I kind of gained the skills as a tech instructor or a person who teach coding. And then I was like, okay, why not I continue doing the YouTube thing while doing freelance teaching coding. So that is what I'm doing right now also, which is to freelance teaching coding under the education tech company as a freelancer, because the pay is sustainable enough for me to live a living. At the same time, I'm able to do my business. So then I was also questioning myself, am I going to do Flutter for the rest of my life? And then I was like, maybe not. right? I know I love Flutter. I've been through Flutter since the beta days, and like I was in the community talking to other Flutter developers, and then I was also selected to be this thing called Google Developer Expert. I don't work for Google. It's just a voluntary role. It's basically like a content creator that is unpaid by Google, but the perks are insane. So that means like some perks is as a Google developer expert, you're able to go overseas to talk about Flutter for free. So they pay your flight, they pay for accommodation. And then Google I/O, if you are like a very good Google developer expert, very into the community, very active, right? They will fly you to Google I/O or any like events overseas for free, and your accommodation is also paid for. So that was like cool. But the thing is, I was a Google developer expert during the COVID period. So as you know, I didn't have the perks that I was not say promised, but that I researched on. Yeah. So then I was like, and also at the same time, I wouldn't say Google developer expert is it's a good thing if I believe as a person with a full-time job, because that's where you can like, share your experience. And most of the time, people who ask you to be for talks are people from universities. So students will look up to you, and you can share your experience. And then people will also from other companies will like get to know you as well, and then maybe you can talk for them as well. So I think that's pretty cool if you're really into the technology that you are an expert in, but it doesn't pay the bills. So at the same time, I also quit to be a Google developer expert. And then I realized that...
Let's stop here. I got a couple questions about Google developer expert.
Yes.
Can you gain an audience from doing that?
Oh, you need an audience before you need to be a Google developer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Well, you had mentioned was it college campuses? Was it high schools that would try to get you to?
Yeah. So in universities mainly. Yeah. So they have this group that is called like Google Student Club or Google Developer Student Club, GDSE. So universities will have some sort of club to promote Google technologies, right? So they will then have the list of Google developer experts that's in your area or in your region. So for me, because I'm in Singapore, right, I'm in the region of Southeast Asia. So universities from Indonesia, universities from Malaysia will actually like message me, hey Haris, we are from this university, and we are doing this event, so would you mind do like a little workshop on Flutter so that the students are able to do this thing? That's like, sure. And yeah, I mean, it's great because you get to expose these students to Flutter, and at the same time you also get to know, they will know you as the Flutter person, that kind of thing. So your branding is there as well, which is great. But for me, I mean, money is the bloodline business. So it's like, I don't see the returns. I know it's a long-term game if you want to do that. I understand that point of view, but at the same time, short-term, I wasn't sustaining from doing talks for free.
Well, I guess my question is, so the talks didn't really bring you much of an audience?
It does. In terms of audience, it does. Maybe like for certain events, it will, because it's an online event, right? So you can, the numbers are usually pretty high. I'm not talking about thousands. I'm talking about like maybe hundreds of students or hundreds of people in like events, right? So that was okay for me. And then some people will go to my YouTube channel and check it out and whatnot. So it increases in terms of like the audience generally in my own, like, I guess, social media space or my YouTube channel. But at the same time, I don't see like a spike in like revenue sales from my courses. So, but generally you don't think of that when you do talks, because I did talk for the reason of Flutter to spread the word and not. But at the same time, like, it just doesn't gives me the best ROI because I still have to take time to prepare the slides as well. It's not I go there, it's like, no, I don't do freehand presentation. Yeah, I have to like, do. So like, why not do the same thing, but then being paid for it? So that form of like education, right, that's being paid is now being used as a freelance skill. So now I am getting paid teaching. And now I don't teach Flutter that often because in Singapore, Flutter is not very, very popular. Yeah.
Okay. What do you teach now?
So right now I teach like a lot of technologies. Right now, my main source is I'm teaching people who are transitioning careers. So people like a boot camp. So in Singapore, we have this program where it's where people who, because during COVID, most of them might not have jobs. So Singapore actually has a program that gives you monthly income. Yeah, so they are being paid like 2.2K per month to be being paid to learn tech so that they can transition to a job. Yes, Singapore, we are very, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm the instructor for that. So I teach, for this course, I teach mobile development and web development. So web development is Laravel, MVP. Mobile development is React Native. Yeah.
Where do you want to take this?
So for this, because it's a freelance, in terms of take this, what do you mean by that?
So I guess, it feels like you still are really leaning on entrepreneurship. Where do you want that to lead to? Do you want to start your own coding boot camp? Do you want to be a content creator, a course creator?
Right. So right now I'm also running. So the YouTube channel, the Flutter business, I actually closed it down already. So that's something that I said that I'm not going to do Flutter anymore. And then I transitioned because I realized I guess I found my purpose, or it sounds cheesy, but like my purpose is I think that education can solve a lot of the world problem. So like my life goal is to actually open up a school, like a university or whatnot, so that I can teach things that makes humans better. I mean, in terms of education, in terms of life skill and whatnot. So that's life goal, right? So now is that I've opened up another business to teach coding. So I partnered with someone who has his own tuition centers. So then basically like using the tuition centers students, I'm able to get leads or students to hop on to the coding side of things. So they will also be my students for me to teach coding. So that's like the current state of things, which is what I'm doing right now. Then in terms of where I want to take it is that I am planning to create my own coding bootcamp. And then that's why I found out your channel, because I was really, really looking into what are the like good things about certain bootcamps and what is not. What are some things that certain students are not they don't really like about the boot camp. So I really learned a lot from your YouTube channel, and thanks really, because it really helped me on what are something that's very useful for the students and some things that are not. So that's where I'm able to get what I wanted to create, but I haven't really created a curriculum yet, because right now I learned is that what's very important for business is money, right? From my field venture. So right now it's more towards marketing. So how I'm doing it right now is through TikTok, because TikTok is the easiest to gain a lot of views for very little effort. What I mean by that, I think, when you edit videos for like 10-minute videos, it takes you maybe 1 day. For me, personally, when I create a YouTube tutorial, it will take me 1 day to create one video. But if I were to take TikTok, right, I'm able to create 3 videos in like 1 day, which is insane. Second is that because TikTok is still kind of new and its virality algorithm is it's stupid, meaning that your video that can be 1 minute or less can get so much views. In YouTube, it's so hard to get like 10,000 views. You probably know it's so hard because like YouTube algorithm changed, and yes, the audience is big, but at the same time, it's also hard for you to grab the attention of people. So then that's where I realized, like, why not just ride the wave of the current content creation game, which is to create shorts or YouTube shorts or short form videos. So that's where I see a lot of success. So I create short form videos, content creation in forms of short form videos on TikTok, on YouTube, and also on one more, Instagram. Yeah. And then all of these are basically the top of the funnel. So your marketing, your awareness channel, right? And then you filter down to the next one, which is to know whether they are interested in you. That's what I did for my courses. So another tip for those who want to pursue entrepreneurship, always find your audience first. Okay, if you don't know, just find any audience. Like for Don, your audience is very clear. It is people who are interested to become developers and from boot camps. Very clear. For me, it's because I'm opening up for coding boot camps, is we call this mid-career people. So people who are 30 to 40 years old who don't like their job and want something new and better, then they go to like my upcoming boot camp. And then you don't have to sell anything. You can just say register your interest. That's what I did for my previous coding courses on Udemy or even Teachable. I will say, register your interest for the upcoming course. For example, intro to Flutter. So and then that's where you know that your idea is something that people are interested in and willing to pay for if you were to put a price in your landing page, for example. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm creating a lot of content on these 3 channels in short form videos, because that's where all of these companies are actually pushing their attention to. So on Instagram, they push a lot on they call it Reels, but it's just short form vertical video. YouTube is the same. They also will try to push as much on your YouTube shorts. And then on TikTok is the only form that people do. So they will just push as much. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing right now to create awareness, content creation. And then the next, or we call this CTA or calls to action, is it? Click to action?
Call to action?
Call to action, sorry. Call to action is the...
What was the abbreviation again?
CTA.
Yeah, call to action, I think. Yeah. I feel like I'm being thrown off now.
Yeah, it's call to action. It should be call to action. So people know about you. Oh, Haris is the developer person. Don is the bootcamp person. So it's like, they will be interested on like what you do, because people are interested when you give value, when you do a lot of like things, right? So they will go to your website. So all of these platforms probably have a link for them to go. YouTube is a bit hard because they don't want you to promote your link. So they probably promote your YouTube channel instead. Yeah. But for TikTok, they will go to your profile, and then that's where you can put your link. For your Instagram, it's the same. They'll go to your profile, they go to your link. And that's where they were like, so Haris, for example, what I'm doing right now is, Haris is having a coding bootcamp. And then for me, I have a landing page, and then I will just say, register your interest. And that's where I know if people are interested in your idea, or if your idea is something that people are willing to know more about. So right now, that's where I am, which is to hopefully do like a pilot course on like something like a coding bootcamp, but like a simpler version, or like a version of it. And then the next part is sales, because that's where normally when you do online courses, the sales is also part of your marketing. So you probably give reasons of why people should buy your course, or even newsletter marketing as well. Yeah, so that's where I learned a bit on newsletter marketing when I was running my Flutter business, selling online courses. But for sales, when you were to do physical courses, because that's my intention, is you have to talk to people, like you have to meet them for a meeting, and then you have to do sales, or you just need to know what their needs are and whether your course is suitable for them. For coding courses, I don't know how they do sales. But if it's still a problem that people are still looking for, it might be not as hard as if you were to convince someone one-to-one. Yeah, because from what I've seen so far is that people are generally able to give $10,000, or I think for some they will go through like the other one is that they will go for free, and once they're able to go get a job after the bootcamp, then they will have to do like a income share agreement. I think that's the second, like the more palatable way of like, transitioning to a tech career, because $10,000 or above, right, it's very expensive for many people. But for some, they're able to fork out their money. I don't know how, I don't know, but like, yeah, so that's where I am right now in terms of this business. I mean, I'm explaining all of the different parts of it. So from my experience is that the curriculum, you can do it on the fly. I have experience. I have taught for 2-3 years already. And I'm very confident that I don't know if I'm very confident, but I know that I can create a curriculum because I'm a person who graduated from a bootcamp. I'm teaching people who is going through the mid-career. I see what concepts I think I can give well as well. And then hopefully from this I can do many iterations to the point that the coding bootcamp will be very good and very useful for the students. So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And when you do start your own coding bootcamp and you come up with your own curriculum, as long as you're transparent, I think a lot of people would be very open to it, because you can, you're probably going to break it down into sections and build a section, start running students through it, and then start building the next section. You can get tons of good feedback that are like, it's instant feedback, right? You can iterate very quickly. That's a really interesting way to build it. But before I forget, I'm very curious about this. You had mentioned TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. What do you have data on your conversion rates into your courses from that?
The conversion rate, I would say it's right now is very, very low. So and I don't know which platform that the signups are from, or the people, because once they click on the register or the CTA button, right, they'll go to a Google form. They will put in their contacts and where they know about this this coding bootcamp. So most of them said social media. Some of them said TikTok. So the thing is that that's the only media that I've been using for this Google form or for this coding bootcamp. So the conversion rate for that is actually pretty low, because I have a lot of views on I don't know if it's a lot, but in total views on me talking about boot camps and whatnot, maybe like I'll just give a rough estimate. Maybe I have like 70,000 views on my TikTok in total, in terms of my TikTok videos, or 70, okay, maybe 100. I'll just put 100,000. And then 100,000 on TikTok videos. And then maybe on my Instagram, maybe I have a rough estimate, maybe I have like maybe 20K on Instagram for my, they call it Instagram Reels. And then for YouTube, YouTube Short it's not doing well for me. But I guess in total for YouTube Shorts, it's like maybe at most 3,000-4,000 views. So in combination of the total amount of awareness, I would say it's like 125 or 130. Let's round up to 130. The signups that I get right now is close to 11.
Okay.
Yes. So the conversion rate is very bad. But the thing is, that's the whole point, because people will still go to your landing page, and I don't know. So the analytics that I have not recorded yet is how many people visit my websites. Yeah. So if I can get that number, then I'm okay to share that. But I don't know how many people visit my websites. I think from that question, I already know what to do next now. I need to know who. Yeah. But thanks. Yeah. So, but in the middle, I don't know how many people visit my websites. I assume, let's take it 5%. So 100,000 views, 5%, that's like 5K. So 5K people visit my website, or even lower, I would say maybe 2K. And then after that, the people who are converted to register their interests, then that's where it dials down to 11. Yeah. So it's not great, but I think that's how other businesses are doing as well, because they have insane amount of views, insane amount of like subscribers and followers and whatnot. It's probably around the same conversion rate as well. Yeah. That's what I see also from my previous Flutter business. I have a YouTube tutorial. I have the link to sign up for the course, and then most of the time it's like I get 30K views on a video, or 10K or 5K views, and then people will sign up probably like 10, and then people will buy probably like 1. So that's how it's funneled. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's always interesting hearing how people set up that top of funnel, as they become an entrepreneur. And I think I'm just going to kind of sum up some things because we're at that end of the hour already.
Okay, so okay.
No, you're good. You're good. I thought this was really interesting. So yeah, it's interesting hearing people set up that top of funnel, what platforms they perform on. I hear similar experience. Like, I don't have a big Instagram or TikTok follow. I literally just clip. First of all, my advice, don't just clip things from your podcast, your videos, and push them on TikTok. It just doesn't work. I think native content, focusing on the camera, focusing on patterns and different conventions on those native platforms is super helpful. So I'm not going to give advice on that, but I do hear conversion rates are super low. A lot of views, but with short form content, conversion rates are super low. That's why I host a podcast. I really think I'm able to build up a little bit more loyalty for people that are willing to stick around, and people that will stick around for my live streams for an hour and a half. I think building up loyalty, and I think the conversion rates definitely go up when I push things out and I test things versus the short form content. So it's interesting hearing all that. I think real quick, just so we can wrap it up, I think what you shared, I think more people want to hear about journeys of developers that do become entrepreneurs. When I put out a poll, 90% of people in my community, before they even got a developer job, they're I want to work on my own, right? They already want to work on their own, but they want to get to kind of a comfortable income first, which you recommended. Okay, capital is super important. Make sure you have this down, right? Or you're going to be asking parents for money or going back to your old job, etc. So I think just hearing your journey and can kind of give people some insight into kind of how hard it is as an entrepreneur. But I love your focus on content creation. I think that's the way to go for any business for the most part. But kind of just want to sum it up because that's kind of what I gathered. If you had to, for aspiring developers or current developers, all of the above, if you had to give one major piece of advice for anyone that had that entrepreneurship spirit, that one day they're not going to have a boss, I'm going to be doing this on my own, I don't care how hard it is, right? Or maybe they don't realize how hard it is. What would that one golden nugget of advice be for that entrepreneur?
Golden of advice. Wow.
I know there's a lot you can give, so you gotta sum it up in one.
Yeah, so I'll start with one advice. I would say, I know it sounds a bit, from what I said, is actually find a reliable source of income while doing entrepreneurship, because not many people know that you are actually burning money. Because you're living, right? You need money to survive, right? So you need a reliable source of income. So it can be your job. You can actually pursue entrepreneurship as a part-time job. Yeah. Or because for me, I don't like the 9 to 5. So I want some flexibility. So you can do freelance as well. So I would recommend you to do something that can pay you a minimal amount of income. So you have to figure out what are you able to survive with. So for me, I think I'm able to survive with $1,500 per month. So if I can get a job that pays me $1,500 per month, that means, right, I don't have to work as much. So maybe if I were to work 2 weeks and it pays me $1,500, great. The other 2 weeks I can focus on my entrepreneurship journey. And that's where you can actually, it's slower. Obviously, it's slower because you are spending 2 weeks in a month to work a job that might not be beneficial to you. But then the other 2 weeks, you can actually pursue what you want without worrying about when's your the next food on the table and whatnot. So always have a reliable source of income. And I know entrepreneurs or people who really want to start this, I don't want to work anymore. I want to do my own ideas full time. Let's go. But I realized that is okay if you really have a lot of money to burn. So at the same time, if you really want to do full time, yes, please save money. Don't go in and saying I'm gonna have $10,000 the next month I quit. It's that is unrealistic. Okay, many businesses became famous at least or 3 years or more. So if you are not in it for the long run, then I won't recommend you to be in the entrepreneurial space. But there are cases, but this is like very like 0.01% of people who are successful where they're able to, after 2 years, they're able to, run a very good sustainable business and whatnot. But for those who try out, please, have a source of income, because that will really help you. Because when you were to do your initial idea, that idea sucks. Okay. Most ideas sucks at the first place. Your version 1 of everything sucks. Because if you were to just really look through on all the successful stories, right? They are not version 1, they are version 101 or what. Yeah. So, yes, the golden nugget, please get a job that doesn't require you to be a full-timer. It can be like a part-time that pays you well, or it can be freelance as well. Yeah. So that's my golden piece nugget of advice.
I love it. That's good advice. Because I think, most people aren't even cut out for being an entrepreneur, and just yet, you got to build a lot of interesting habits that you never thought you had to tackle once you become an entrepreneur. And too many people think way too much of their ideas, and those ideas are probably going to fail. I think you were very, very realistic, and I can definitely back that up, how difficult it is to take that first idea and like try to build a sustainable revenue with it. So I always give advice. Definitely do it part-time on top of a job that pays the bills. I don't do that. I tend to go full force with it. So like, definitely do what I say, not what I do. I'm a bad example if you look at what I've done, but like, I can definitely empathize with this emotion, this drive to like, I have so many ideas. I think this is really good. I understand the users. I understand like what the concerns are. Like, I just want to go full force with it. And I think it's very helpful to not bottle that emotion up, but just be realistic about it and like, space out your execution and just make sure you plan it. And then you plan for that execution to fail. And so you have a financial backing for when that happens, right? There's so much you have to consider. So yeah, that's good advice. Harris, yeah, I feel like maybe down the road when you do decide to start a coding bootcamp, we'll definitely have to review your program. But yeah, let's wrap it up here. If people want to reach out to you and anything else you want to shout out, where could they reach you?
Right. So you can go to my links. My social handle is haris.samingan. So if you want to know more about code, like I also try to create content on, I do a lot of coding bootcamps kind of content, meaning like one short video is like, should you learn coding for free versus $10,000 coding bootcamp? So I will actually tell you what's the good and bad between both of them, right? So you can go to that as well. If you're Singaporean, because my goal is to create a school in Singapore. So if you're Singaporean watching, wow, I don't know how you got this channel, but good for you. But yeah, you can check us out at code@zenith.com. Yeah, that's where my business is. You can see whether you're interested in the coding bootcamp, or maybe there are other courses that might be interesting to you. I don't know. Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. All right, Harris, I really appreciate you coming on. I like talking to other YouTubers, content creators, and entrepreneurs. I have to do episodes like this more often, but yeah, seriously, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries. Thank you for having me.